Alright guys, welcome to the very last lesson, 8D, solving problems using trigonometry. Okay, so here is where you should be able to answer any questions involving triangles using either SOHCAHTOA, sine law, or cosine law. So let's take a look. A section of a bridge design is shown below. Find the total length of the beams required to build this section. So it's asking you what's the length of that, and that added together. So the easiest way to go about this is obviously let's look at this. This is a 90-degree angle, isn't it? If we can find this length, then we know this, and then we can use this length to find these two. Okay, so let's go. Using that as a right angle triangle, here's the 90 degrees, then this must be the hypotenuse. Okay, so if this is the angle we're working with, then here this must be the opposite, and this must be the adjacent. Okay, now our job is to find the opposite side. So we need this one, and we need this one. Okay, and I believe that's a 6.2. I probably shouldn't have covered it. Yep, that's a 6.2. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve that. So I know that whatever I use I have to use opposite and hypotenuse. So I'm going to use sine. So sine of 37 is equal to opposite, so I'm going to call that O over hypotenuse, which is 6.2. If I quickly solve that, 6.2 times sine of 37, that will equal to my opposite side. So 6.2 times sine of 37 is equal to 3.73. 3.73 equals the opposite side, which means this is 3.73, this is 3.73, and this is 3.73. And how do I know? Because these ticks tell me they're the same. So I'm going to write 3.73. Okay. Now, I know what this side is, so I'm just going to highlight the sides I already know. I know this is also 6.2. Okay. Now, I need to find this side still, don't I? Okay. So I could use SOHCAHTOA again to find this side, or I can look at the fact that this is a right angle triangle, and I can use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So now, if I look at these two, so let's call this, let's just call it A. So here's my right angle triangle, so I'm going to have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now c is always my hypotenuse, right? So it's 6.2 squared. And then this side will be my other side. It doesn't matter which one's a and b. This would be 3.73 squared, a squared. Okay, so our job is to find out what a is. So a would just equal to the square root of 6.2 squared minus 3.73 squared. So clearly I skipped a couple steps, so what I did was I moved that to the other side and then square root the entire thing. This is just solving using Pythagoras' theorem. So 6.2 squared minus 3.73 squared, that equals 4.95, which means A equals 4.95. So this is 4.95. Okay? And this is, I know it's written there already, but I kind of covered it, so this is 6.2. So far I got 6.2, 4.95, 3.73, 3.73, 3.73. Now, our job then is to find these remaining two sides. Okay? Now let's see if there are any angles we can work with here. This is a little tricky, but for those of you who are pretty good at geometry, you would realize that this is an isosceles triangle, which means if I could just find one angle, I can easily find the rest. So I'm going to draw a semicircle here. I need to find this angle in here. If I could just find this angle and this angle, then I could subtract those two from 180. So how would I find this angle in here? Well, this angle, this is a right angle triangle, right? Which means that's 90, that's 37. So to find this angle in here, it's just simply, let me just redraw this and make it a little bigger so you can see. And then you got this in the middle. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. I don't know what happened there. Okay, let's go back. I'm just going to redraw this. What is happening? Okay, so I'm going to redraw that. Okay, there we go, much better. And then here's the tip of that triangle. Okay, and we are trying to find this angle in here, right? Well, how can I find this angle, which is that angle, B? Well, this one would be 180 minus 37 minus 90. Minus 37 and 90 is right there, right? So 180 minus 37 minus 90, that means this angle in here is 53. Okay? Now how do I find this angle here, the tip of that red triangle? Well, remember how I said all three of these sides are the same? Well, if the three sides are the same, then the angles are also the same. Think about an equilateral triangle. So what's 180 divided by 3? Well, then that means in here is 60 degrees. Which means this missing angle is going to be 180 minus 53 minus 60, which will give me minus 60 minus 53, 67 degrees. Which means this is, okay, which means this angle in here is 67, which makes this one also 67. And then, if that's the case, then this angle would be whatever 180 minus 67 minus 67 is. 180 minus 67 minus 67, that angle is equals to 46. Now, why do I care? Because once I have this angle, I can then find the length of these two sides. Okay? Now, to do so, obviously is not a right angle triangle. I should probably use, do I want to use sine law? Well, can I use sine law? Because I need to find this side, right? Let's use a color I haven't used. So I need to find this side down here. So I have at least one pair, 67. Now, do I have a second pair? I do. I have this angle and the red side. So I could use these two pairs. Now I'm going to use sine law purposely, only because the last worksheet was all about cosine law. Okay? So now, let's go. So I will have 67, or sine of 67, sorry. Sine of 67 divided by this unknown side, so let's call that x, is equal to sine of 40, sine of 46, sorry, that is, sine of 46 divided by this red length, which was 3.73. Okay, and then if I cross multiply, I'll get x times sine of 46 is equal to sine of 67 times 3.73, so 3.73 times sine of 67, sine 67, and then divide both sides by sine 46. So then x will give me, if I just type all that in, 3.73 times sine of 67 divided by sine of 46, 4.77. And I have two of them, right? 1, 2. Okay, so now, therefore, the total length is So 4.77 plus 4.77, 4.77 plus 4.77, plus 3.73, plus 3.73, 3 times, 3.73, 3.73, 3.73, and then plus 4.95, plus 4.95, plus 6.2, and that will give us a length of 31.88 meters. Okay. Let's take a look at the second one. So the second one is not as tedious. This one incorporates everything except the cosine law. Find the height of the cliff shown. So our job is to find this height. Okay? AB. So I could see a 90-degree angle there, a 90-degree triangle. The problem with that is I only have one angle and I don't have any side lengths. So instead I'm going to focus on the bottom triangle first. This bottom triangle. So I'm going to draw this out. And I know that this is 150, this is 62, this is 50, and if I need to find just this side, okay, and why just that side? Because this is the side that is shared with the right angle triangle. So if I draw the right angle triangle, so let me just highlight this in blue to show which one I blew up. Is that 150 or 160? I'm going to assume that's 150. And then let's use red for the right angle triangle. So if I drew this triangle out, you can tell it's the end of the year. Right angle triangle, okay, which means that is 32. But this length here is shared with that, so it's the same x value. Okay, and our job is to find the height. Okay, so let's first solve this using we can use the sine law. I'm just seeing if we can use the cosine. Let's use the no, we can't use the cosine law and have this side. Okay, so let's use the sine law then. So here is one pair, here is another, but we don't have an angle there. Yeah, we do. 180 minus 62 minus 50. 68. 180 minus 62 minus 50, so this angle here is 68 degrees. Okay, so let's use the sine law. So sine of 68 over 150 is equal to sine of 50 over x. Okay. Again, cross multiply. X sine 68 equals to 150 times sine 50 divided both sides by sine of 68, sine of 68. Cross that off, and our x value is equal to 150 times sine of 50 divided by sine of 68, 123.93. Okay, which means this is equal to 123.93, which is that length, which is shared with the bottom of that. So that's 123.93. Now we can use this to use SOHCAHTOA to solve for our height. Now if this is the angle, then this is our opposite side. This is 90 degrees, so this is our hypotenuse, which means this is our adjacent, which means I need one that uses opposite and adjacent, and that's going to be tan of 33 equals h our height, which is our opposite side, over adjacent over 123.93. Multiply both sides by that, so our height will equal to 123.93 times 10 of 33. 80.48. 80.48 meters. And there you have it. Okay, and one last question before the practice questions. So while flying at an altitude of 1.5 kilometers, the plane measures an angle of depression to opposite ends of the crater. Oh, so I clearly forgot to include the angles here, so you can skip this question. Okay, because without the angles you can't solve it. So the rest of these is, first off, to draw the triangle, and then you need to decide whether you're going to use SOHCAHTOA, sine law, or cosine law to solve for the missing sides. Okay, I'm just quickly skimming these to see if there's one that might be a little difficult. This one isn't hard, it's just maybe the drawing. So we've got two buildings. They are 43 meters apart, so here's 43 meters. The angle of elevation to the top of the shorter building, from the top of the shorter building, sorry, to the top of the other building is 15 degrees, so it's 15 here. Okay. And the angle of depression from the top of the shorter building to the bottom of the other building is 62. What is the height of the taller building? So as you can see, there are two right angle triangles here. Solve for this, solve for that, add them together. Okay? Awesome. And if you finish this, you're done. You just have one more quiz to go, and you can enjoy your summer. Take care, guys.